While you were not looking, I read a couple of sources and now I'm ready to get started filling in my outline. So when I read this article from the Ancient History Encyclopedia, I noticed, and this is interesting to me, that his organization is the same as mine. It has life, works, and discovery, which were three of my possible topics. But I actually think that some of the things that he says I would organize in a slightly different way. But now that I have some facts, I'm ready to start making some decisions about what my information is that I need to put in my outline. Okay, so when I have my body paragraph 1, the first thing that I need to note, is who Enheduanna is. Okay, and so each time I copy something from my sources, I'm going to make sure that I noted which source it came from. And so I'm moving back and forth between these two sources in order to give the best explanation of my different points and using a combination of sources. Okay, so the first thing that I read in all of this about her life that I thought was extremely interesting is that she was a priestess and a princess. Okay, so I've got quotation right here, but I'm actually going to add a few more points before I get to quotation, because right now I've got a lot of things going on in my head and I need to narrow down. Okay, so she's a priestess and a princess, and underneath that priestess princess, I can do some subpoints, for example, and I can talk about what kind of priestess she was. And here I have elevating her to the position of high priestess in the most important temple in Sumer. Okay. Okay. So yes, high priestess of Anne is what I want to write. Priestess, princess. Okay, so most important temple in Sumer. Oh, look, I can add another one even before that. Oh, not B. I want this to be the A. Okay, so I'm going to put her actual dates. And here they are. Okay, this is her date. Okay, Command B, those are my dates. Okay, so I have to put in italics, I have to put also, in parentheses, I need also to add where I got that information, because I do not want to be using information without noting where it came from. Okay, so she's the most, so now I have her dates. I have she was in the most important temple in Sumer, and that she was the priestess of, and I'm going to go back and check it one more time, high priestess of Anne, so that I've got that and it's written correctly. So I'm going to change this to high priestess of Anne. And we know all of this information comes from the same guy, but we're just going to make sure that we've got it. Okay, so this is something about her life. And then I had another thing about her life that I thought was just really fascinating. When I looked here, it says that okay, so she was supported by her father Sargon, and it says elevating her to the position of high priestess of the most important temple and leaving her the responsibility for melding the Sumerian gods with the Akkadian ones to create stability in an empire needed to thrive. And I like this so much that I'm actually going to quote it. Okay, so I may put my quotation, cut it down later, but right now I'm just gonna copy that, put it in my my paragraph here. Whoops. And because I want to say that she had like important civic responsibility, and my evidence for that is going to be, let me do my A here, is this. Okay, and I'm copying this again because I know that my author here is Mark. Okay, now I'm going to make sure that I've got this in quotation marks because I do not want to miss it. Now when I look right here and I see that I've quoted it, I need to know what paragraph it's in, and in fact it's in paragraph 1. And so I'm going to put this right here. I'm going to put para 1. Okay, so even though this is a little bit of a mess, now I know that I have my my information here, and I'm not going to get confused. Okay, so that's some of the important stuff that I see about her life. Now I'm going back to my source here, and it says she is credited with creating the paradigms of poetry, psalms, and prayers used throughout the ancient world, which led to the development of genres recognized in the present day. Now, to me, this is incredibly important, but it also, to me, looks like it should be about her importance or influence. And so I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to put it in my my third paragraph, okay? So when I look at her importance of her work, I'm going to say she influenced authors by creating the genres that they used. Okay, and now, oh, here's my quotation right here. I'm just going to take this out and I'm going to copy what I just copied. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that I've got that this is from Mark. Remember Mark? And it's also paragraph 1. Okay, so I'm really getting there with my quotations. Okay, so I'm going to keep doing this until I fill in my various paragraphs by finding good information and sticking it in there. Here, I can show you one more. I want to do something about her literary works, and so I need to find some information about that, and I want to check my other source. Okay. Okay, so 2 of her known works are hymns. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this. I don't know if I want to use this as a quotation yet or if I want to use it in another way, but when I look at her literary works, one thing that I want to say is that she wrote spiritual poetry, and here is some of my evidence right here. Okay, but I need to make note that that is from my other source. So this is from Roberta Binkley, and I need to make sure when I'm writing my outline that I have that straight, so I'm going to put it right here in parentheses. Okay, now this is not exactly the right thing, but I can clean it up as I move from my outline to my paper, and the part that I just was in paragraph 1 again. So Roberta Binkley, paragraph 1. Okay, so now I'm starting to populate my my thing. I noticed just now when I was at that one, before I forget, I want to also note, I think this is really interesting. It says, Enheduanna is at once a mystical and heroic figure, one whose image may be destined to take hold of the popular imagination in an era of emerging feminism and the reclaiming of ancient feminine images. She's the world's oldest known author whose works were written in cuneiform. Okay, so this is about her life, but this, I think this is very interesting because it's talking about her subsequent importance, and so I feel like that should go right here in my paragraph. I need to make sure it's a quotation. Okay, wait. I see this. This is also quoted. I don't want to forget. So this is from Binkley. Okay, so now I have I want this to be Binkley capital, and I want to remember that it comes from paragraph 1. Okay, so all of these are from the first paragraphs. I need to go through and get some evidence that shows that I've really read the whole articles, but I'll show you a version of this outline that is further along after I do a little bit more. But notice now that I'm satisfied with the 3 categories that I have, I can turn to my introduction. I think that this is actually a really good way of starting to make sure that you know what your organization is before you turn to your introduction.